Hey guys, so I'm going to show you one more type of shading that you could use, and it's going to be with this ebony pencil. Ebony pencil is good for smooth shading, but it's a little bit messier than the cross-hatching or coloring. So I've got this little piece of paper that I'm using as like a smudge protector, so I'll put it down on my page while I'm smudging and drawing, and that way my finger that rubs on here won't be rubbing on my picture, and there'll be less smudges. You're still going to get smudges, but you know, there'll be less. So first I'm going to kind of use the ebony pencil to take my sketch and outline it a little more solidly. I'm still being sketchy, but I'm just like making the line a little bit darker. See, I'm leaving a little bit of white in the pupil. I usually do that because it makes eyes look a little more realistic, a little light catcher. This just means like that your eye has light hitting and bouncing off of it. It makes it look shiny, which usually happens. So it makes your pictures look a little more realistic. Okay, so I kind of outlined some of the main parts. So now I'm going to start using my smudge protector because there's ebony on here now, which smudges really easily. So I'm going to start shading, and so what I'm going to do is sort of like I'm coloring very, very lightly. Where I know there's a shadow, I will color with my ebony pencil. And see, I didn't like color hard, and I didn't, you know, I didn't like go like that. I didn't color hard like that. I colored very softly, and I filled in a section, and then as I got away from the part I wanted to shade, I picked my pencil up to make it soft around the edges. Some people, when they do their shading, they draw like, they color like one box like that, and that's gonna still look like a box even after you shade it. See that? Leaves that box, and then you'll have to go back and erase the edges to make it look more smooth. So whenever you're shading, you're going to try when you color in to color the section, but let the edges be soft, lighter and lighter, so it blends in with the rest of your page when you smudge it. See that? So I've just done it here, and you can see I've been using this finger. When you're smudging, you want to use one finger and try not to get it all over the rest of you. That way you just have to wash a little bit. And also you can see I'm smudging carefully to keep it in the eyelid. If I were to smudge just crazy, I would definitely get it in the eye. And I'm trying to leave the eye for now because I'm not shading that yet. So far, we got one eyelid shaded. Do a little bit more over here. And there's two. So it already looks a little more 3D because it looks like the eyes are being covered by the eyebrows. And then after I've shaded a little bit, my finger just already has some ebony pencil on it. I can use it to shade without even coloring sometimes. So I can go around and use it to shade a little bit. Now don't push super hard and like wear your finger out, but you can go and shade a little bit without even having to color. And you're going to be really careful not to get into the highlight areas, like you know the top of the nose is going to be light, but of course it's going to get in there a little bit, so you are going to have to come back with an eraser for this method and erase back out any parts you accidentally shaded. You can see for the hair, I'm drawing these lines and I'm trying to curve it with the head to make it look more 3D. So it kind of starts out sort of like cross-hatching, but even lighter and more together, and then becomes smooth shading after I spread it with my finger. Okay, so I'm getting some nice shading on here. If you end up with any parts that seem blotchy, you're going to try to smooth that stuff out. But you do not want the whole face the same shade, the same color. So as you get done with kind of that main layer of shading, where you made sure to get under the chin, under the nose, the top eyelid, that stuff, then you're going to need to come back in with the eraser and fix anywhere where you know it's smudged outside it's supposed to. So for example, I can make a little bit more of a highlight on the nose. And so my technique for erasing here is kind of like dabbing the eraser, like little bits like that, and then I can use my smudgy finger to re-blend it in. Or I can, if I want it to stay light, because this finger's dirty, right, it's going to make everything dark again, I can use another finger as my second smudging finger, but this one is for the light stuff. And you're also going to need to check for smudges around your portrait that escaped and clean that stuff up. Oh no, I was not being careful when I was erasing and I crinkled my paper. To be very careful when you erase. Also notice when I'm getting my eraser fuzz off, I'm not just smudging it, because again, this is a very smudgy process, so if I just wipe the whole thing, it could smudge off that stuff I've been working so hard on. Okay, so there's some simple, smooth shading. Kind of get some of the eraser fuzz off. Using an ebony pencil on a portrait. Okay guys, have fun.